Today we got some good topics.
Oh
right?
yeah, you better get ready.
Yep, it's gonna be very, very good. So, what's the first one we have?
First one is gonna be fake it until you make it.
Yeah,
Which is really exciting. I'm so pumped for that.
awesome. Which leads to how we feel to that creates our outcomes
Yes.
in life.
That's right. That's right.
After that, we cover.
We're gonna talk about imagination and how important that is.
Yep.
And it's important because it's gonna be, if you keep imagining, it's gonna be the preview to what's next.
Exactly. So we use that as a tool. We're gonna go deeper into that. And after, we're going to talk about
health-wise. We're going to get into the topic of fasting.
Yeah.
And just going without frequent meals.
Yeah. And how fasting can help you actually to create abundance. Pretty
amazing.
Big one, right?
That's profound, man. I'm excited to hear about that.
Everybody wants to, right?
Oh yeah.
Episode 10.
Episode 10.
Boom.
Hey, we made it to double digits.
Yes.
So that is so cool.
So we are celebrating by becoming very bling bling today.
That's right. We are balling it out, man. We are just,
Yeah, it is just the very beginning.
That's right.
Yeah, we just hit like 1 million followers.
That's right, man.
So awesome,
we got the platinum award.
It's hidden back there, but it's over there.
Yeah, it's over there. We'll get it later, maybe.
How are we feeling today, Mike?
Dude, I feel fantastic.
Yeah.
I feel very well rested.
Amazing. I love that.
And I got a busy week ahead of me, but I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
So it's all good. We're in it. We're in the game.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I wish I would feel as rested as you.
You had it pretty busy.
I'm so excited to be here anyway, and ready to go and jump into these amazing topics we got today.
Exactly. I gotta say, this is one of my favorite parts of the week right here.
No, for real.
Just
for real.
Airing out our topics and just, like I said last time, it all bubbles up in my mind. I'm like, ooh, that's a good one. I write it down.
And then, like, being outside in the park is just like a privilege,
Yes.
And this beautiful weather. So far, we had maybe like 1 day of rain, and over 10 weeks, which is amazing.
That's a good batting average, man. We're doing pretty good there.
So good. Yeah, so far so good.
The weather, has been very kind to us. So,
right, let's get it.
So this is something I've been thinking a lot about this whole week, and it's kind of the reason why I decided to rock this today. Is because it's a little known. Everyone knows this expression: "Fake it until you make it."
Yep.
And quite frankly, fake it puts such a negative connotation to it. I like, imagining the part and doing the thing. So pretending is more of an accurate word, or just, acting out, playing the role.
Playing the role, yeah.
So it's nothing is fake here, to be completely truthful, man. You're just acting out the thing, the person you want to become, the things you want to achieve, the things you want to do.
And sometimes to just give some more depth to what you just said.
Yeah.
I feel like faking, when you fake, it does sound like it's a pretty negative term, but in a way, how do you deal with that negativity to be like, I'm going to pretend to do something that's not true yet.
Right.
So I'm going to fake it, but it's not comfortable really much to be like, versus like, I'm going to imagining becoming someone.
Right.
Right. But if you're good with being like, okay, I'm going to use that word fake for now.
Right.
And be okay with it.
Exactly.
It just can also makes you deal with that weird situation where you like, okay, I'm faking it.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to own that.
And, you own it, exactly.
Right. And so that's a beauty of faking it until you make it, is you have to be confident. You have to be okay with making lots of mistakes along the way.
Yeah.
Having, haters call you out for little mistakes, and it's like, yeah, maybe I did make a mistake, and it's like, okay, but action is better than not doing any action.
Yeah.
And if it, someone calls something out, or you make a mistake along the way, I mean, that's what's intended. That's how you learn.
Yeah.
That's how we do everything. we're on episode 10 of this awesome podcast that we created. So, I was a little nervous before episode 1, thinking, oh my goodness, I'm not a podcaster. I've never done this before. How on earth are we gonna we're gonna sit down with a camera? We're gonna talk. How are we gonna do that? So but we're doing it.
Yeah.
And sure, we learned a lot. There was that one day I forgot the tripod, and thank goodness you had tape and Band-Aids.
Especially Band-Aids.
Yeah, that's right. You're able to tape the camera up and get that going. So
see, you gotta fake it.
Yes, exactly, man. It's like all different. You got to learn from all this stuff, and you got to be okay with that. So this is our call to action for you guys.
Right.
Fake it until you make it. Don't let anything limit you. Don't let any prior beliefs stop you from something, even if it sounds grandiose and ridiculous. If you want it in your heart, you gotta just start acting the part. Oh, that rhymes. You gotta start acting the part, to get there. And now that I rhymed, I'm like fulfilling my rapping career, man.
Yes, let's go. For real.
Andale, mama. Iya, oh. I was listening to that the other day.
Can't wait to see the next podcast.
Oh yeah,
come up with.
Right. Exactly. Oh, you guys better get ready. So that's the beauty of fake it till you make it. You have to be courageous. You have to be able to, be okay with little mistakes here and there. And you just got to own all of it.
Yeah.
Because anything that's really a mistake is only maybe shocking or difficult in the moment. It always becomes a funny story later.
Yeah.
And it also becomes a memory for you, a way for you to how not to do something.
Yeah. Like a lesson. You learn from that.
Yeah. And it's important to have growth mindset forever and always.
Yeah.
No one's above the growth mindset. Some people think they are. Some people think they know it all, and maybe some people do, and good for them.
When you know it all, that means you already are going down.
That's right. I actually know nothing.
Downward curve.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. And for the just to add on you brought out the haters.
Yeah.
I like to see haters as markers.
I love that.
Of your destination.
Exactly.
You need a quota of haters like monthly. If you have
a quota.
If you can do like even like bi-weekly or something.
Yeah.
You hit a certain number of people hating on you.
Yeah.
If you hit that means you're doing great.
Right.
Like if you have 10 people commenting anything your content or whatever you do, or tell you that's not right to do this.
Like I only had one hater this week.
Or
man.
you suck at this. Or
oh yeah.
Well, that's a good marker.
Sure, it's great. It's that's a great point right
Keeps you
there.
on track.
And it's the exact opposite. What a lot of people feel at first is they're in fear of the haters, and the haters will actually stunt their growth.
Yes.
Because they don't want to be called out. But it's better than okay. It's always an opportunity, actually, because you can always. It's how you deal with it, and ignoring them is fine. And also dealing with them cordially and gentlemanly is also really great too.
Yeah.
I'll give you, this really small example of mine, but I was, a couple months ago, I was putting out videos on TikTok on just very quick videos on why I choose to run in barefoot minimalist sandals and toe socks. And I listed a few reasons just very quickly, and somebody replied with, well, his example was, if you're a high school student that's training for a track meet, this could lead to injury, and he gave the thumbs up, like, oh yeah, good job on your advice, very sarcastic.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, you're completely 100% right.
Yeah.
This is not for everybody. And in addition to the, high school track athletes, this may not also be suitable for people who are elderly or extremely overweight.
Yeah.
So I also added to that, to what he was saying. I didn't say, hey, you're, screw you or whatever.
No. It's an opportunity for you to actually even go deeper on that topic.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. You brought up a very valid point. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And of course, they go pretty silent after that.
Of course, yes,
You know,
because
so
this is not what they expect.
exactly.
They want you to be like, stay in a position. Oh no, I believe that, blah blah blah.
Right. And I was able to do that because I believe in my style of running. I believe that people should try it out. And I agree, it's not for everybody. And there's also some people that get very sweaty on their feet too, so sliding around in sandals is also a factor. Yes, exactly. So, but I encourage everyone to try it out at some point.
Yeah.
Very small, even walking in them.
Yeah.
Because, I believe in it.
I kind of want to try at some point, definitely.
Absolutely.
Because I've bought new running shoes, and I'm not a big fan of it, but I still got some very thick sole.
Right, right.
And it's very, bouncy and everything. It's got a lot of response and everything.
Yes.
And running it's fun, but at some point I'm like, just like so unnatural.
Right. Exactly.
That it makes me think that I should not just do this. It's okay for some distances.
Right.
At some point, you definitely get to keep running with the proper way how we actually built.
100%.
And not with this deformed way of running.
Yeah, it's exactly like you said. It's not natural, and there was a point in time where I was going back and forth between barefoot shoes and regular running shoes, and my thoughts on it was regular running shoes with the cushion and the shape, the contoured shape and everything. It's like driving a luxury car. It's like very cozy and comfy. Even if you do 15, 20 miles, it's still pretty smooth and cozy. However, there's a lot of problems with that because there's a lot of things that I mention often about normal running shoes. The cushion doesn't allow you to get the feedback from the ground, so you don't know if you're heel striking or if you're going in the middle or towards the front. You just have no idea because it's all like being on marshmallows.
Unless you really pay attention to it, you have no idea.
Exactly. It's like running in oven mitts.
Yeah.
And then also we have a lot of bones in our feet, and we have a lot of ligaments in between them. So it's actually very important that our feet are able to move around and bend and flex. And so there's that. And being in running shoes, as the owner of the Zero shoe brand says very often, it's like having a cast on your arm. When you take the cast off finally, is your arm really, really strong?
No,
it's pretty
strained,
a little atrophied, a little weak.
Yep.
So there's, so it's like that. It's like we have too much support and too much, trappedness.
It's definitely like a cast for sure.
Absolutely, which protects it, but a little too much. If you have a broken body part, then that makes more sense.
Yeah.
So there's, I have a lot of things, and also the wide toe thing, because I can, I love being able to splay my toes really wide, and normal running shoes do not allow for that.
Like when you have your shoes like super strict like that, it's actually very not natural at all.
Yeah. So my personal problem with normal shoes is I've rolled my ankle so many times running. And that has yet to happen with me for running in barefoot shoes and sandals. So I've never had that happen, just because I'm able to do that a little more, be on the sides of my feet just a little bit if I need to. But if you're up on a platform on your feet, then it's easy to topple over a little bit. So that's my hugest reason why I'm a big fan personally. I've always had the super flat feet. I've had the super wide feet. And I feel like, honestly, it's curing one of my bunions. I have a bunion on one foot. And I'm watching it shrink smaller and smaller. Wow. Yeah, I'm actually watching it and that means that my toes are going farther and farther apart. Yeah. But I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool.
It's great, yeah. So that way your bones are realigning themselves naturally, right?
And it's very slow, but I definitely notice it.
Yeah, awesome.
So, but yeah, that's that's my reason why I do the whole barefoot sandal thing. And so I am working on a YouTube channel for I'm calling it the Sandal Runner, and I've been working on my first video for it, just editing back and forth.
How's it gonna be called like?
The Sandal Runner.
Sandal Runner.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
And so my flagship video is going to be very nice and well done and kind of fancy looking, but a lot of the other videos will be just kind of face to camera,
right.
a lot of discussion.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't wait to check it out, man.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
That's awesome.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so maybe I can finally get to it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, I'm hoping to influence you,
yes.
and so just to try it anyways.
No, I'm super, because I truly believe in everything you said about it. That's so true. I mean, we're not meant to, like, you know, wear this huge cushiony shoes anyway.
Sure.
Whether it's like super tight or like super high on these platforms.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, exactly, man. You're like raised up off the ground.
Makes no sense.
Let me ask you: you've been running pretty good, pretty frequently, maybe, you know, some high miles and stuff. Have you been feeling any aches or pains anywhere? Have your ankles and knees and hips are okay?
No, everything is super fine.
Good.
The other day I had a little bit of tension in my glute there.
Right.
But it fed away pretty quickly after I did some exercises.
That's good.
Yeah, it was very, very clean. But no, I'm super. I think I'm also very conscious about how I run,
each step and everything.
And I really do love like these micro workouts where I would do deadlifts for like 30 reps of super low weights.
Yeah.
So always maintain my hamstrings strength and my glutes.
Excellent.
That's I take care of that, and I think that's a huge component for like taking, you know, no injury or overuse of the wrong way to use your muscles.
100%. That's exactly right, because and any runner will tell you this: strength training your legs is really important.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like it should be half running, half strength training your legs. And I've made that mistake so many times. Pre-pandemic was when I was doing the most running. When I had a running streak for over 400 days, and you know, I ran marathons, full marathons, half marathons, you name it. And I was not good about strength training. And I had knee pain in one of my knees that it lingered, it stayed there, and it kept getting worse and worse. And it got so bad eventually that I stopped running for like over a year.
Wow.
Yeah. It was well, there was also the pandemic lockdown as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on at that time. But so that's, you know, so I was like, what the heck is going on? You know, every time I try and run. So I was doing two things wrong. You know, my form wasn't so great because I wasn't getting the feedback that I needed from, you know, I had cushioned shoes and everything. So I was probably just continuing on incorrectly.
Yep.
And then the second thing, I was neglecting my strength training completely. You know, I hated legs, I hated squats and all of that. So I just didn't do it. So those two things took me down and out eventually. And post-pandemic, as the world was lifting up and getting back to normal, I discovered zero shoes, running barefoot shoes, and you know, I did a couple of I didn't do any marathons in zero footwear yet, but I've done lots of long distance, you know, 5 to 10 miles pretty frequently.
Awesome.
And then I discovered that I liked running in sandals, but I would get blisters and stuff. So then I discovered, you know, Injinji toe socks.
Yes.
And the combination of Injinji toe socks and barefoot sandals has just been such a winner to me. It just checks all the boxes. Yeah.
It really fits your style too of minimalism.
Right. Yes. 100%, man. That's minimalist. So no, but
contrast is a very good thing. You need to live with contrast as well.
Yeah.
You need to go from one extreme to the other.
Exactly.
How to combine them together. Become a gangster who loves minimalism.
That's right. That's exactly right. You know, and that's why I love this so much. I bought it such a long time ago, is because minimalism, that's what it's all about. It's about the things that either have function in your life or they bring joy to you.
Yeah.
And I always laugh when I see this because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so not Mr. Bling, you know, but I love, you know, having entertainment in my life, and I have very few things. Excuse me. My apartment is practically empty, you know, it's very, very few things. And I love it. I love the peace of mind. I love using the few things that I have to its fullest extent. You know, I love digitizing books and, you know, instruction manuals and all kinds of stuff.
So to link it to from like when you fake it.
Yeah.
to so basically for in your example,
Right.
you became more of someone who doesn't want to own too many things and want to have space in your apartment,
Yeah.
have less things, that keeps you focused on everything.
Yes.
So you kind of like take these actions to fake in a way,
Yeah.
to become someone who's like that, right?
Absolutely.
And so how does that help you to feel like when you fake it? How does that help you the impact on your environment afterwards?
Sure. Well, when so it's both for being a barefoot minimalist runner and being a minimalist. I had to pretend how to do it first.
Yeah.
Both situations for running. When I first was running in sandals and stuff, I was thinking, "What on earth am I doing? This is the craziest thing.
Yeah.
People are going to look at me funny."
Yeah.
But then I kept doing it, and I kept building that confidence in myself. It's like, look, I'm going to keep doing it, even if it's crazy.
Yeah.
So you have to be okay with being. People call it imposter syndrome and all this crazy stuff, but it's a good thing.
Mm.
You want that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am an imposter. Get over it.
Well, it's being delusional a little bit, right?
Yeah, and that's okay.
So you project yourself in your future that does not exist in the material world yet.
That's right.
So, but you project that, and you kind of bring it to you.
Yeah.
In a way.
You have to imagine it first.
So, which brings us to like imagination.
Yeah, and imagination is so unbelievably important.
Well, it's a gift of God.
It's a gift of God. And yeah, he puts it in your mind. He doesn't put it in other people's mind.
Yes.
So imagination is the preview of life's coming attractions. That's an Albert Einstein quote.
Oof,
yeah, which is amazing, right?
Yeah. I like how short it is.
Yeah.
How short and so powerful it is.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's the thing that some people get wrong is you imagine something, and the worst thing you can do is tell it to a small mind. Tell it to someone, or just to someone who hasn't had the same imagination that you did. You got to be careful sometimes on who you share everything with. Because, hey, it was put in your vision. It was put in your imagination. So it's on you to carry stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
So imagination is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's how we have everything. If you look around, how we have everything.
Yeah.
Somebody imagined, electric vehicles and smartphones and
even on
computers.
If you bring it back to like a very on your daily basis, like you visualize things. I don't think we really realize how much we imagine things before we do it.
Right,
so
right.
Most of the time, if you be like, okay, today I want to do that. I want to go to a coffee shop, work with some stuff.
Sure.
You always, when you tell yourself that, you kind of imagine yourself doing it.
Right, right.
So imagine that, and then be like, okay, now after I've got to go to work, do this and that, do a workout or walk or whatever.
Yeah.
But every time you think about these things, you visualize through imagination.
Right, right.
So something we do all the time.
Yeah.
And pretty much that means that imagination creates our
You're creating your own future.
Everything, yeah.
Even if it's small on a daily basis.
It can be like in the next 10 seconds to the next 10 years.
That's exactly right. And there's a couple of days, I teach music for a living, and there's some days where I know, okay, I'm going to have a difficult situation ahead of me. And if you can imagine the most ideal outcome of it and deal and on that, and imagine, just kind of coating your mind with armor a little bit. Yeah. If the worst situation were to arise, this is how I imagine I would deal with it. But imagination is so incredible in that way. You can control your own future with it. Mm-hmm. You can predict it, and you can do it, experience it, pretend it,
and have an actual impact on what's coming up.
Right.
Versus then letting it go and then just be like in whatever mode.
Right.
And that way you're just not in control somehow. Not to be like too control freak, but really try to let it go, but sometimes expect something to happen a certain way.
Right. Imagination is that powerful.
Yeah, and that's really like the foundation of what it is to be human.
Yeah.
Because, for instance, we understand that maybe animals have imagination too, but you don't see them building stuff.
Right.
In a way, what that we think like we as human we evolve through a time with creating something that we call technology.
Right. We're extremely smart.
Yeah.
That's what we have going for us is our brilliance. And animals can be absolutely brilliant in their own way, but they're creating, survival for themselves.
Because they don't have the right to choose in a way.
Yeah.
They just follow in some kind of a destination or destiny, I would say.
Yeah.
Versus a human can be like sitting down and be like, how can I actually think from the future and have an impact on that future?
Right. Imagination is what gives us humanity in a way.
This is good, man.
Yeah. So it's that good. It's that powerful. Yeah. And our mission is to make life better for everybody as much as we can. If we say something that sparks imagination for you, nothing is ever a limit. That's what I want to teach people. And so really, one of the things that I want with my fake that make it an imagination mindset, there's a lot of things that I want. I want to become well known as a barefoot sandal runner and as a minimalist, because not for myself, for my own personal gain, but it's to show people, hey, materialism can be a trap, and you can have a lot more with less, and you can have healthy, fun running experiences without crazy cushioned out shoes. You can literally, so there's different ways essentially, and I invite you to try them. Is essentially my message.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you.
I love it.
And then as far as imagination and fake it till I make it for myself, I want to become fluent in Japanese, which is an ongoing, forever process. It's hard, but it gets easier with consistency. But you have to put yourself in situations where you're doing the thing. And I just had the most fun. I'll never forget when I went to the NAMM show this year, and it was completely surprise random, but I had 2 Japanese speaking interactions with people, and one of those people is very, very famous. I had no idea at the time. So but it was just so fun too. It's like, okay, it's scary and I'm totally making a fool of myself, but hey, so I'm gonna live.
You started to talk to that person, not just like randomly. What happened?
So there was, I'll tell you,
give me a story.
Let me tell you the best one, because one of them was a much smaller interaction, which was still cool, but this one, so this is
we're talking about NAMM.
This is the NAMM show in Los Angeles, which is the Music Merchant Expo, essentially, where they showcase all different instruments and brands, and they have a lot of artists. And
so that's an international event.
Yes, that's a key point right there. People from all over the world come to the NAMM show. And so I saw this one girl putting down this really cool bass. She looked Asian, of course, and she's putting down this really cool green, kind of a small bass. So I walked right up to her as a bass player. I said, "Hey, that's a cool bass. Can I try it?" And she said, "No, I said, sumimasen. Nihongo ga skoshi hanashimashita.
Here we go.
Demo amari yoku wakarimasen. Mare mare desu." And she's like, "Oh, very, very cool." Thank you. I'm faking it till I make it. But so she was like, "Oh, cool." So I still didn't know how to say, "Hey, let me try out your bass."
Right.
But she got someone she had like a couple of helpers. It turns out she was just doing a presentation. She was working
speaking for the company.
She was working for this brand, and she got someone to hand me a bass, one of those basses, and so it was cool. I sat down with it, I plugged it in, and I was slapping and doodling around and stuff. And she clapped her too. "Oh, jozu desu ne." I was like, "Mada jozu jarimasen." She said, "You're very skilled." I said, "Oh no, I'm not skilled yet, but thank you." And so.
So humble.
That's Japanese people for you. It's very, very humble, sweet. So it turns out later, I looked her up later. Her name's Mina, and she's like really, really famous. She's in a band called East of Eden, And she's got pictures with all of the biggest bass players, with Flea and with Victor Wooten, Marcus Miller, Stanley Clark. She's like got this picture where she's like sitting on a couch with all of them, and she's like probably in her early to mid 20s.
What?
Yeah, so she's amazing.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a couple of videos.
So you had no idea to watch.
I had no idea, okay. And so had I had known, I probably wouldn't have had that. Yes. Oh, she's really famous. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm gonna keep my distance.
Yeah, you would never go ask.
Yeah. So that was just such a big highlight for me. That was such a great, funny little thing that happened. And I was talking about her bass. I was like, "Oh, chotto chisai desu yo." It's really small. I like it. And her bass was really kind of tiny and very contoured, so I was able to take up. But it was so cool. I was, you know, definitely a bit nervous, but it was so fun. That's what life is about.
Exactly. You gotta be excited about it.
Exactly. Yeah. You know. So that was fun, and that's, you know, that's a big example of fake it till you make it.
And to link that up with like imagination, you can. This is why you can use imagination to be excited about things too.
Right.
Like you just did. Like you go to an event, like, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You can before that imagine, like, you know, having great encounter with people, having fun, laughing, and all that stuff. Like, you know, having a fun time.
Sure.
And it's gonna definitely like emphasize this when you're there. Then it's gonna, like, you know, shift in a way where you'll be more likely to experience this, laughing.
Because you've imagined it.
Because you've imagined it before. So it puts you like in a state where you attract this more.
Right. Your mind is attracting it. It may not be exactly as you imagine, but it's going to pull you closer to it.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
And I think everybody can do that. You should definitely try it as much as you can. Even with something super simple. Go to a coffee shop and imagine maybe having a quick interaction with someone that you enjoy that conversation with.
Right.
And maybe you can maybe meet someone and have an interest in common, right?
Right, exactly.
And be like, oh my God, I love, go rock climbing. Oh my God, me too.
Yeah.
Oh, let's just, exchange,
right.
And maybe we'll go, like next week, we'll go rock climbing together. You can imagine this before going to the coffee shop.
Right.
And you see what happens.
Right.
And no expectations, but without, taking it like very lightly.
Yes, take it. Yes, exactly. Have this awesome imagination of a really cool scenario that happens.
Yeah.
But then just go to a coffee shop and just
heavy, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, it's heavy.
It might be very expensive.
Yeah, right. Who knows? And it doesn't.
You're gonna get robbed here.
Yes, hey man. So yeah, go to a coffee shop and it's so simple and costs you nothing to say, "How's your day going so far? How you doing? How are you?"
Yeah.
And it might be, you might have some similarity about something else, but just starting with that, how's your day going so far?
Yeah.
It's the most amazing thing because we, as human beings, we have a lot more in common with each other as we think we do sometimes. There's always something that we can relate on.
Oh, yeah, dude. 100%, yeah.
And the quicker you find that with people, the more immediate you build a connection.
Yeah. Yep.
That's one of the best things. That's one of the greatest things about, me teaching music lessons and stuff is, okay, you're into this sport. Even if, and I'm not a big team sports person, but, I can do a little bit of research and check out, okay, hey, did you catch the game? Just to get people in that good mindset of something that they enjoy.
100%.
And if it's about video games or music or TV show, forget it. There's a lot of things I like on that front.
Yeah.
So, you made me your best friend just now. But
yes.
So yeah, connection over things it's a lot more common than we think it is.
Yeah.
There's very few people that we have nothing in common. They exist for sure, but there's very few people out there. We all like breathing air and eating good food.
Yep.
So let's start with that.
And do other things all together.
Yeah, exactly. So
which bring us to the next point.
Yeah. We all enjoy eating and we all enjoy, drinking drinks and stuff like that. But I love the topic of fasting.
Ooh, yes.
That's, some people are fasting. Oh, heck no, I don't want to do that. You know, some people, and you know, it's different for all different body types too.
And we've been learning so much about it lately. I mean, these past few years,
Yeah.
it's been a very important topic, you know, in health, you know,
Right.
Conversations. But it's something that we still, I think, still new,
Yeah.
and how to utilize this, because everybody can use it in different ways.
Oh yes.
And so yeah.
There's a lot of benefits to fasting that I've like read and watched videos about.
Mm-hmm.
And it can go from very small things. I mean, nothing small, let's be real. But you can, you know, people will expect to lose a little bit of weight or just change up their lifestyle ever so slightly, you know, for a duration of time.
Yeah.
But there's also things that are very, very profound. That is, there's a spiritual awakening that can happen through fasting, and there's oh, what was I going to say just now? It'll come back. Oh yes, dude, you can actually grow stem cells in your own body from fasting.
Okay,
your body,
I have no idea.
yeah, look that one up, because that's actually so
stem cells.
Yeah, your body will repair itself
as a result. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. So, you know, and that, I mean, the stem cell thing is from, like, you know, let's say starting at 72 hours or 3 days of fasting. So you have to go pretty deep into it. And, you know, everyone's health and lifestyle is different. So don't jump straight into 3 days of fasting, you know,
so
if you're not
is
used
it
to that.
after the phase of autophagy?
Yeah.
So after that, you rebuild your cells.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you eventually, your body starts to repair
That's the
itself.
part of it I've never got into really much.
Right.
Because I know a lot about the benefits of autophagy after 24 hours, where you get, you know, keto mode, and then after ketosis mode, and then after you
what is autophagy exactly? I forget.
Autophagy is when your body will get rid of the bad cells. Most of the time, what's called the zombie cells.
Right.
By like digesting it.
Yeah.
They just eat them. So you basically eat your body.
Right. Yeah.
Your body eats itself.
But it eats essentially the dead cells, the bad stuff.
Yeah. That's the definition of autophagy.
Right. That's wild, and I guess that happens probably because your body isn't so focused on digesting food.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's digesting. Okay, let's kill the bad stuff in our body.
Your body can heal itself.
Right.
And that's the only way for it to do it. So when you want to give it a chance to do that, then the body can maybe like work on the stem cell to renew the stem cell.
Yeah, that's when it goes into that next phase. So I guess once the zombie cells are eliminated, then it'll start to. That's wild that the body can do that, and that happens without food.
Yeah.
You know, that's really crazy.
Yeah.
It goes to show you how smart your own body is, how it can heal itself, and how it knows what to do. And you know, it has to be in this crisis mode a little bit. It's like you're tricking your own body into an emergency situation.
Yes.
So that's why it does that.
Yeah.
But you know in your mind, hey, you're good. You know, you can get food when it's time to get food.
Yeah.
And you know, replenish yourself.
Yeah, you gotta go past beyond all these habits.
Right.
So where your body's gonna try to be like, oh, I'm used to have this food at that time of the day.
Right.
Why don't we have it right now? What's happening? You know, so you feel hunger, which is not a real hunger.
Yeah.
It's just a habit.
Oh yeah, it's just you're just used to it.
Yeah, you gotta pass that, and at some point you just feel like, oh, I'm not hungry anymore.
Yeah, and hey, your body might tap on the, hey, it's been 8 hours since you've eaten.
Yeah.
It's been 16 hours.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, hey, that's okay.
Yeah.
Look, we're still in control and we're safe.
Yeah. And what's a great way to maintain a good fasting?
So
like maybe a 3 days fast.
Yeah, which I've done before, and I'll tell you, you know, before I answer your question, I remember there was one time where, and I was just experimenting with fasting for the first time, really, and you know, I didn't jump straight into 3 days. I had done like 1 day, and then 2 days, and then 1 day, 2 days, you know, just dancing back and forth a little bit. But there was a time where I did a 3 day fast, and it was water fasting. That's my usual go-to. Is I do drink water, and I do have a little electrolytes and things like that. Because dry fasting scares me a little bit.
Yes.
It'll get your results faster, but I don't like to be thirsty.
So dry fasting is like don't drink anything.
Yeah, it's like absolutely nothing. Yeah. So people do that, and it will get some of the fasting results and benefits quicker. But I don't like to be thirsty. You know,
I would always get a headache.
Yeah.
If I don't drink, if I'm dehydrated, I would just get a huge headache. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dehydration, that's good. It's not good for your brain, you know. So, but I like the water fasting, and so there was a time where I did a big show with my Latin band, and it was on day 3 of my fast. And I remember being so focused. So sharp.
Yeah.
Unbelievably, like a robot. It was scary. I was like Cyborg Mike, you know. But I made, you know, to my knowledge, no mistakes that evening. And there was a point in our set where the whole band was like, you know, there was one part where the band was almost like lost a little bit. And I was like, no, we're good. Just right here. Yeah. You know, so there was, and this was a couple years ago. So I remember mentally being very, very sharp and also feeling very spiritual, because I feel like there's a connection between spirituality and your body being light, being very light, not
100%,
too heavy.
100%. Yes.
You know, if you got a bunch of stuff in the machine, you're not operating fully.
Well, this is when you separate from flesh and you really don't act on the physical aspect of it.
Right.
So you just get into the spirit.
Yeah, exactly. So it's crazy, you know. A 3-day fast, it's a good amount. It's a long amount of time, you know. But you know, things will be happening to you mentally and physically, and there are a lot of benefits that stay with you. Obviously, well beyond the fast, even after you start eating again.
So, what would you recommend to people to do? Someone never did any fast. What would be maybe the first step for them to go into fasting?
Yeah, it comes down to, you know, checking in with yourself with how you feel every step of the way. Some people might have a bit of a struggle with a 16-hour fast.
Yeah.
So it's
16. Is it intermittent fasting?
Yeah, that's intermittent. Okay. I think anything past 24 hours is prolonged fasting.
Prolonged fasting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a good place to start. Is 1 meal a day. You know, try. You know, for 2 days, just having one big meal here and then there. I like to recommend on the earlier side, early to middle of the day, so it doesn't mess up with your sleep. You know.
Yes.
Because if you eat really, like a huge dinner is probably not a good idea.
Maybe like
like 11 or noon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and just make it a big meal. And that could be, you know, that could be maybe 2 p.m., 3 p.m. for some people. Right. Is okay. But I tend to hold on to my food a lot longer. I can fast very easily, personally, because I'm very endomorphic. I can, which the benefit is I can probably gain muscle very fast, but I also hold on to food for a long time.
Right.
I don't, so that could mean slow metabolism or whatever. But, you know, so if people feel okay with having one meal on that day, then they should, first off, they should schedule the day where they're going to do a complete full day of fasting. And then, you know, mark down when they start versus when they end. And just go through the day.
Okay.
You know, drink water when you're thirsty. Drink it when you're hungry. You know.
Yes.
Do the electrolytes maybe, you know, one time for your breakfast is a little scoop of electrolytes.
So electrolytes gotta be like zero sugar, right?
Yeah, preferably.
Be careful of that. So a lot of electrolytes have a lot of sugar in it.
Yeah, that's a very good point too, and that can kill your fast.
Yes.
That'll break your fast.
We definitely.
Which we don't want right now. You know, at that time, you don't want to do that. So you do, you know, a little bit of sugar-free electrolytes in the morning, and then, you know, in the evening as well, and just water throughout that. And then just, you know, go through the whole day. Wake up the next day and check in with yourself and see how that felt.
And you
and
should feel pretty light and good.
you should feel good.
Yeah.
After one full day of fasting, you're good because most of that time you've kind of conquered the hunger pangs. You've gone past that part. So a lot of people will report that, starting 2, 3 and beyond, even more days than that, it does get, weirdly enough, a little bit easier and easier because, just like you said, they separated from flesh. You've told your body, hey, it's okay.
You
don't panic.
You don't respond to your body anymore. You just become the ones like, I'm here, I'm like the spirit.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
It's very interesting how it takes this kind of work to really separate yourself from your body.
Yeah, and it is a discipline for sure because we're so used to eating all the time. And but yeah, after 2 days of not eating, when you're on that day 3, it's like, okay, yeah, that smells good, but I'm just still not going to eat right now because I'm on a mission.
I remember the first time I did I think it was a little bit more than 2 days fasting. I remember the second day of waking up, man. So like I was like maybe waking up at a little bit more before 5 a.m.
Right.
So sharp.
Oh yeah.
Ready to go.
Super full of energy too, right?
I went out and it was like, I'm going to just go work out.
Yeah, you're just like flying through everything.
You have no food in your belly for like the past 2 days, and then you just like, I'm going to go work out. I have the energy to do it.
Yeah. That's exactly because you've gotten that energy from, okay, maybe your body's a little bit lighter, so it's easy to work out and stuff, in a way, calisthenics, but also you have given your body rest.
Too much rest.
So it has rest. It wasn't working so dang hard to digest food. You don't have all this heavy food. You don't have all this hard work that your body's doing.
Better as well.
So your body's like, okay, I got energy. Let's do the stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
And going out of the fasting.
Yeah, breaking the fast.
Breaking the fast. I've heard that it's very important to eat little by little.
Yeah, don't eat a huge meal.
Yeah, because it would be like dramatic for your body after if you get like a huge, I don't know, bowl of rice.
Right. Oh no, because all that stuff will be sticky in your stomach too. It like sticks together, so that's you especially want to avoid those two things.
Like a salad with avocado.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Very light things.
Protein.
Yeah, things that digest easy. I would say things that have a lot of water in them.
Like fruits and protein. Maybe fruits and eggs and stuff like that.
Sure. Anything that. Yeah, exactly. Things that are very easy on your body. That have some water in them, and it's not like a big heavy thing that's going to stick into your stomach for over a day.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fasting is amazing like that, and so far I'm fasted for today. So I think I might carry on this day fasted.
I'm not.
Did you eat? Well, yeah.
Yesterday was a good day of not eating too early.
Right.
But yeah, so I'll do at least 1 day a week where I would just eat during the day though.
Right.
Pretty late in the day.
Yeah.
And I've noticed I try to eat late, but around like 5 p.m.
Okay.
6 p.m.
Right.
Just one meal.
Yeah.
That has not enough.
Sure. One meal a day is fantastic. I was doing it for a long time, and I might go back to that pretty soon. It works well for me anyways because I'm my metabolism is rather slow. I'm pretty endomorphic, so I hold on to my food. That one meal is good. I'm good on that, and I love that long period of fasting around that. It's done me a lot of good. So but
that leads me about to fasting, how we talked about the spiritual to get into the spirit.
Yeah.
How we can maybe use fasting to create abundance in our lives.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Since your mind is like clear, you have less things inside you that's I would say toxic.
Yeah, interfering.
Your body has to deal with.
Yeah.
So maybe your mindset. I'm saying maybe, but it's a sure thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Your mindset and your spirit can like work together better to respond to something that makes more sense for you.
Yeah.
More fulfilling, and that way you can take actions towards more abundance.
Right.
So using maybe fasting into becoming a creator, like a producer,
Right.
create something from fasting as well.
That's wild.
Yeah, right?
That's so deep, man.
And that way you would do things that would just definitely like create more abundance in your life.
Yeah.
And really tap into that. And if you do fast once a week, you can actually focus on creating abundance once a week.
I love that idea.
Way.
Yeah.
And I think it's not a wide topic. Like nobody would think that's all the big, good way to, people wants to like manifest.
Sure.
By visualization or all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a commonly discussed approach.
Yeah, but I think the most important point once you want to create more abundance in your life is to get in touch with the spirit.
Yes.
So like we said, separate from the flesh.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think from that. Think through the spirit.
Right.
And fasting is the quickest way to get there. Right.
Mic drop. And holy smokes.
And that's how you should maybe create your environment and your lifestyle.
Yeah.
To have this included in your life if you want to be more abundant.
Absolutely. It starts from not putting the toxins and all the food and all the stuff in, and so that will allow you to imagine clearly and think clearly. Yeah. And let me ask you, since you've mentioned about meditating in the past, I have meditated while fasted, and it becomes easier. It definitely does, because my mind is clearer. Yeah. So I know that usually meditating, you don't think too much. You're just thinking about breathing at first, your breath, but things do pop in your mind. It's like clouds going by.
It's a progression.
Yeah.
You got to follow the steps. If you don't follow the steps all the time, you get to a state and then you drop from it.
Right.
You cannot stay in that state long enough.
Yeah.
To get to the next step.
Right.
So it's a progression. It's almost like a protocol. It's very interesting, right?
Yeah.
But it's like prayer. You got a few steps to go through.
Right.
And so basically, that's true. Like when you fast and go into meditation, you go through that protocol. You really get very quickly there, and you can go like very, very far.
Yeah.
And this is where you can actually heal as well.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is so crazy. It just benefits you on all different levels, mentally and physically and spiritually. Yeah. So just to clear something up for anyone who's interested in fasting, don't go into it with the sole objective of just trying to lose weight.
Yes.
Because you have your why, it has to be much more important than that. And so, it might sound crazy to other people, but, do this fasting to build a better life for yourself, to have a clearer mind, to have that energy to carry out things, and it kind of eliminates procrastination in that way,
Yes.
So.
And losing weight would be the byproduct of it.
Exactly.
Because like we said, it's losing weight. Your attention is from the flesh. You think of the physical thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So you got to separate from that. Yeah. So don't go into this thinking, oh, I'm gonna, you'll lose some weight and stuff. But if you think only with that in mind, when you start eating again, you go right back to where you were. Yeah. So you have to be on this mission of, putting yourself through this research. Okay, how did I feel? Oh man, I did great when I was 3 days in on my fast. Yeah. I had all this energy and my focus was really good. I knew all the right things to say. Yeah. I didn't, there's a lot I didn't need because I was good. Yeah. Essentially. Mm-hmm. So it's cool. It's all a journey, but a lot of people, the idea of eating all the time and making sure you're full and that you have food is so perpetuated in society. Yes. And social gatherings are all around food. Yes. So it is a by yourself practice, without a doubt. Definitely. Yeah. Fasting is something you do on your own. Yeah, you can maybe like keep yourself accountable with maybe a friend or two. Yep. Be like, okay, today we don't eat. Yeah. And we do water fast. Yeah. Or whatever, but it's definitely like you got to bring your intention back within. Yeah, because that's what you're working on. You're not working on stuff out there. And if you think like, oh, I'm doing this to lose weight, you're still thinking about, out there in a way, because you kind of want people to notice your weight loss.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it has to be, okay, what's my journey inside? And you're the only person that can experience that, and you're the only person that can control that.
Yes. Great way to finish this episode, bro.
Yeah. So
let us know if you have any questions about fasting and how you can do that easily. If you a little afraid of it, please reach out.
Yeah, let's talk.
We've done that a bunch of time, Mike and I. That's part of our lifestyle.
Yep.
And so yeah, let's just engage conversation if you need to know more about it.
100%.
And any kind of other topic for the following episode. This was episode 10.
We're in the double digits now, baby.
Continue. So
yeah.
Any topics people want us to converse about?
Yeah, just please bring them up.
Yeah,
comment. And I'd love to talk about anything. There's so much I don't know, and there's so much I want to discover as well. So life has been very good to me that way. I've been able to find out a lot, and it's a lot of uncommon things, a lot of uncommon lifestyle things and stuff. But it's good. Dare to be different.
Yeah.
So with that, thank you all so much for tuning in, for checking us out.
And see you guys next week.
We hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.
Boom.